So this is a song. It's the first song I ever wrote. I don't really know if I'm done with it. I don't know. I'm just thinking it through still, but I like where it's at. I want to tell a little bit of the story behind the song. Not long ago, I had a very profound struggle with depression and suicidality, which included multiple attempts. And I made a drastic decision to take 6 weeks off from a job I had just started. Thankfully, they were very kind about that and they took me back. And I spent 6 weeks in treatment where I learned from therapists and different kinds of therapy. I did horse therapy or equine therapy, which was cool. And my favorite was the music therapy, where I actually learned. I'd never written a song before, but I learned to write songs. And the inspiration for this came as I listened to some young men who were talking about their fights with opioid addiction. And they talked about what I would describe as like being strung out on heroin. I don't know if they used that terminology, but that's how I would describe it. I think folks can get the picture. And they talked about it as like an awful, awful place to be, an awful state of mind, and a dreaded place that they didn't want to go to, but at the same time, they craved the drug and they wanted it. And I listened to a young woman who struggled with an eating disorder. I don't know her diagnosis specifically, doesn't matter, but part of her disorder was starving herself, and she would refer to being in her disorder. And she would talk about going there and knowing that it was her choice to go there. And there's more to it than that. I don't want to oversimplify any of this, and I'm not a mental health professional, by the way. But she described it as being in her disorder was a very dark, awful place. For a long time, I've described suicidality, and this is my experience. I don't know if I speak for others or not, but this is my experience. I describe it, I view it as a very dark place that I go to. I feel that I get sucked into it, and when I'm there, it's awful. But I was listening to these people talk about their fights with addiction and eating disorders, and they went to these awful places willingly because these awful places gave them something. And it was really hard to admit, but being in that depressive, suicidal state, in a really weird way, comforted me. Like I saw an escape from the sadness in my life, and I didn't really want to die. I saw it as the only way to stop hurting, and I saw it as a lesser of evils in my mind. And at times I really did want to, but at the end of the day, I obviously didn't. But anyway, it's a place I chose to go to, and the takeaway is that we all deal with things in our lives that we don't like and that aren't the way we would have them be. So what are we going to do about it? I know for myself, and depression and suicidality are not this simple. So if you tell a person with suicidal thoughts, well, just focus on the good things, they're going to hear you dismissing the reality of what they're going through. You're just going to frustrate them, and they're going to alienate more. So I don't like this. This isn't an easy answer, and I'm afraid it might sound like it, but at the end of the day, I do get to choose what I think about. And do I want to think about the things in my life that bring me pain? I have to some degree. They're there, they're real. I could be optimistic about everything and pretend they're not there, but that isn't healthy. They're there. They're real. I'm going to acknowledge them. But after acknowledging them and letting myself feel them, I'm going to choose to not focus on them. I'm finding things that bring me joy. My guitars, I really enjoy tinkering with them and playing them. And my singing, I really don't think I'm that good, but I really love it, so it doesn't matter. My children are wonderful. My ex, it's like we split up. We had bad times, but we've become friends since then, and I have a roof over my head and those things, and I've learned to see those and live my life in that positive space. So this song is about where am I going to go? It's a kind of dark, heavy song, and it talks about that dark place, and then but then at the end of the song, it talks about there's a faint light, there's a hope, and it's really hard. It's scary, but I can take a step towards that light, towards that hope. And it's up to me to do it or not. It's scary, but I can. And at the end of the song, it's like, what am I going to choose? So that's what this is about. I would like to come up with a version that's not quite as dark and quite as heavy, but I also don't want to offer hope in a way that sounds like cheesy or superficial. So I would rather be a little too dark than be cheesy. So anyway, here we go. Going home, my place, my comfort, all alone, hide in my dungeon, crush my heart, steal my soul, where the darkness kills the pain, and I waste away alone, going home, my place, my comfort, all alone, hide in my dungeon, crush my heart and steal my soul. The darkness kills the pain, and I waste away alone. Just one more, one drink, one pill, one shot. Just once more, can't feed my body now. See my bones one last time. My pills, my gun, my noose, my home, the grave, going home, my place, my comfort, all alone, hide in my dungeon, crush my heart and steal my soul, where the darkness kills the pain, and I waste away alone. darkness here. Can't see below, but just one step from here. Far away, but still one step for me. I want to, I don't. Just one step. Must darkness crush my soul?